What's up, beautiful people? It's Sindærfam. Welcome to the channel. Today we're going to be checking this video and it's titled Brian, Channing and Fred react to horrific P. Diddy video and him taking accountability. Is it too late? Interesting. I'm excited to check this one out to hear what they've got to say regarding P. Diddy. It's no surprise that people are now talking about P. Diddy and the surveillance footage that was released, or surveillance video that was released. So yeah, I'm excited to check this one out to hear what they've got to say. Let's check it out.
Fellas, we initially had the conversation about Sean Combs when Cassie Ventura filed the civil suit against him, but recently CNN uncovered a surveillance video from a hotel where it's shown Sean Combs running out of a room as Cassie is attempting to leave and assaulting her in the hallway. I think now some people who were on one side of it have leaned to the other side once the evidence was shown. Upon seeing that video, what was your reaction?
Man, it turned my damn stomach. It's despicable. Like, a man to hit a woman like that and kick her and stomp her like this. She was trying to escape this monster. As I'm gonna say it now after watching the video out there. Any man out there, I say, you're not a man. If you hit a woman, you're really not a man. I got certain words I call you, but you're not a man if you're gonna hit on a woman, man. That's, to your point, I believe more of everything that's came out. All the allegations, when I see that happen, when I see you're that heartless to chase that young lady out when she's trying to escape you and do what you did to her in that hallway, man, all respect lost. And I say, any man out there that hit a woman, you hit me. If you really want to hit a woman, I'll fight you. You that tough, I'll fight you. That's just, it's sad.
Yeah, no, it's really sad, Chan. You know, to be honest with you, bro, like, I really hate to be here, even have to talk about it. You know, it is really that bad, but I think it's our duty to talk about it.
Yes.
You know, we have loved women in our lives that we love. You know, we all have daughters. And I just think that, first and foremost, Cassie, her courage to be able to go through what she went through and be able to get to a point where she had enough courage to bring it to the forefront. And a lot of people didn't believe her. A lot of people did not believe her. And they gave Diddy the benefit of the doubt. This is my question. How does he approach his daughters?
Exactly.
They're gonna see it. How does he deal with his daughters? And I hope they cry to him, and I hope that he can find a way to be big enough to go out and his image is tarnished forever.
Yes.
You know, and I don't care about his image, but I want him to be man enough, you know, because he wasn't in that situation, but I want him to be man enough to try to figure out how to go out there and be an advocate for that, you know, and I don't know if that's even possible.
The first thing, and we need to be honest, like, Sean Combs is a bitch.
Yeah.
Right? And I think the men who are around him and knew he was that, they bitches too.
True. Because how can you stay supporting this type of human being who puts hands on women? I mean, it goes both ways. Women who put their hands on men, they are the exact same. But this is callous for a human being to do this. Like, with the details in the lawsuit and people doubting Cassie to say, oh, she's just looking for a cheap payday or something or whatnot and all of that. See how quickly he settled her. Because the details is frightening, let alone the person who experienced this, then watching that footage alone. That is not it. That is inhuman, regardless of how you want to say it. I always say that people who look at that video and still be like, okay, there is still room to forgive Diddy, that it was his darkest moment. I just want to ask exactly what this what was said here. If a man decides to put his hands on women, he should be fighting a man. And fun fact is, remember, you have daughters, you have women in your life that you love. If somebody does that to your daughter, to your sister, I hope you feel really good and be like, well, that is their darkest moment. Because if you think it was Diddy's darkest moment, so I mean, it should be forgiven, it's his darkest moment. So I mean, since seeing that is like he made a mistake. I mean, looking at that video or that footage, that was just a one footage, one video of something that happened, not the entirety of it. Supposing that video was not released, just imagine with that video that you saw or that we saw, then the other things that must have happened to her behind closed doors, where cameras were not there, where there was no surveillance whatsoever. And yet people are saying to forgive, to be sorry, that he is sorry. I rest my case. Let's go on.
I do have two little girls, and we sort of got into the conversation when he was brought up by Floyd Mayweather, and some of the things he was saying is like, no, if he did those things, he's a monster.
Exactly.
If he did those things, he should rot in jail. And it's not to say that he should be in a place to where he could never be forgiven. That's between him and God.
Exactly, him and God.
And Cassie. But we can look at that as men and say that some things you don't get to come back from.
True.
And the video is so telling, right? Because she's escaping.
Yes.
Right? Like she's not, it's not one of those things where you're in a situation where you could tell somebody, hey, I'm leaving you, or hey, I don't want to be here.
Yes.
And you can walk out and not fear for your life. Right? Like you watch TV shows where people are running from war and running from things that people are trying to kill them, trying to hurt. That's what that woman was doing.
And she wasn't
Right?
wearing
And then
a
he
shoe.
pulls her down and he's stumping her. Bro, I'm a grown man who is perfectly fine defending himself. But even if I'm fighting somebody right now that I dislike, I'm not gonna fucking stomp you on the ground.
You get?
And it brings into mind like all the other whole shit he's ever done publicly. All the ways that he's used his power, all the ways that he's disrespected people and treated people, and you let him do that because of his power. And now you know that this woman has been living with this for years.
Yeah, thank you,
and those
brother.
bruises heal, right? But emotionally, mentally, the trauma that she's experienced, and then to come out after all these years and finally have the courage to say something about it, to do something about it. In some way try to recoup some of your dignity, in some way try to recoup what he took from you. Now you gotta hear everybody in the world doubt that you ever went through those things. And when you look at some of the affidavits and read some of the things of the civil cases, you can look at those things and say, you know what? He's just in some way perverted.
Exactly. When you go through, I've asked people who keep saying it was his darkest moment. I've asked, like, did you really go through the details in the lawsuit? I mean, I took my time to go through the details in the lawsuit, the way it was explained, and try creating a mental picture of what that was. And you expect a human being to go through that, go through hell. She was escaping. It looked like she was escaping for her life. She didn't have shoes on. He was stomping on her. And with the way, the details in the lawsuit, it shows that she ran away. When she finally escaped, she decided to come back because she knows what will happen because of her leaving. That is what fear does. Fear. Do you know, like when your life is at stake, but you have to fear somebody so the person doesn't take it from you. This is like fighting for survival. That is inhuman. That is a monster to a human, to a human being. Not even to an animal, but to a human being. That is callous. Honestly, it is. I don't think anybody who saw that video, that footage, would come out here and say, well, she deserves it. because it looks like, to me, like some people are choosing sides and choosing where to believe or what to believe after watching that video. No human being should do that. I always say, for people who want to claim to be so perfect, they should always put themselves in the shoes of somebody in that manner, or put the people they love in the shoes of that manner, and see how it feels. Just imagine it. We always say we don't want to put ourselves in that, endanger ourselves like that. But come on, it gets to a point that is callous. It is a monster. That is inhuman. Imagine what only the tiny footage. Then imagine what she's been going through, enduring for years. Can you imagine? And you saw in the footage she wasn't even trying to fight back. So what are we not saying? What exactly, how did people watch that and still say it was his darkest moment? You want to tell me your darkest moment was to put your hands on a woman, on a human being, stomp on them like they're trash, they're animal? It's insane. But let's go on.
Just say, you know what? He's just in some way perverted. Maybe those things aren't things that broach illegalities. Maybe some of those things aren't things that are immorally wrong. But to beat that woman like that, someone who's clearly scared of you, someone who's clearly in fear, someone who's clearly afraid, and you think that make you a fucking man?
Thank you.
And so for me, there is no coming back from it. For me, there is no,
with
it's
Cassie,
never going to be okay. For me, all our prayers, all our thoughts should be with that woman. All our thoughts should be with her husband, who in some way is going to have to try to help that woman heal from what the fuck that man did.
Yes.
And I think it's a lesson to all of us that we definitely want people to be innocent until proven guilty. But we have to be fair in the way that we assess it and understand that two people are going through it until we know. And more than anything, a lot of times something has happened to these women. They're going through something, and we have to be fair to them to wait and to at least know that
thank you,
this
sir,
or that happened before we start calling them liars, before we start defending people just because we have the same melanin in our skin. I will never
support that
any
attitude.
Way defend him, vouch for him, give him any sort of grace when it comes to this. He owes that woman, all women, his children, Kim Porter, the past mother of his child.
Oh, Jesus
we've
Christ.
heard shit about this man forever. But to see it like that, to see him stump that girl out, and then want to be in front of people acting like he loved her, acting like he cared about her when she's walking around in fear, bro. It's one of the more fucked up things I've ever seen. And
thank you, brother. Thank you, sir. Because exactly my thought. The way he presented the front face like everything was perfect, normal and all, and the details of other things or other events in the lawsuit that she wrote goes to tell you the scare for her life, how scary it was. Yet people still did not believe that it could happen. People still could not believe that she went through hell. They still want to say that they still said she was telling lies until the release of that footage. It don't make sense, honestly. And yeah, she needs all the support right now, and her husband too, because the healing process, and imagine what she must have gone through, and now her husband is going to be dealing with that and trying to heal, make sure she heal from that. That's a lot to process, because if he could do this in a video that we saw, then let's even talk about the other women. Let's even keep Cassie aside, because the details of what she shared is scary. Then let's talk about the others that don't even have a voice, both dead and alive. Those that couldn't say nothing, that don't even have anybody to defend them, that couldn't even speak out publicly or speak out, or who for something or one way or the other ended their lives or unalived themselves because they couldn't deal with it, they couldn't live with it, because nobody would believe them. Because Diddy is powerful. Like, make it make sense. That right there, or this right here, is the scariest thing ever. Imagine being scared for your life and still living with the person, or being with the person you're scared of. Like, I don't even know what to say. But this right here, what they shared here exactly, people really need to do better. And that is just it. And imagine Diddy making an apology video and people in the comments were like, oh, to err is human, to forgive is divine. That was his darkest moment. We should forgive and forget. Seriously, I always ask, like, people who say forgive and forget, that was his darkest moment. Let me just put this scenario, because I always love to connect it to people. For the people who think that is the darkest moment, we've all done dark things in our past, we've all been in our darkest moment, quite all right. So now let me get this straight. Let's say, for example, somebody who puts your sister or your daughter in a terrifying terrifying position, and this is something they continuously live on for years, and they couldn't share it to nobody, but somewhere down the road they shared it anyways, and the person apologized to you, telling you sorry, they're a changed person, it was their darkest moment, and you go on to tell the person, oh yeah, apology accepted, it was your darkest moment, I forgive you for what you did to my sister or what you did to my daughter. Let's call it I'm gonna forgive you, and make sure you seek help or go to therapy and all. I want to believe that would be the expression the person would give. I just want to believe that. That is just what I want to believe, because with what we saw in that footage, not even with the remaining or with the rest, and with others that might have been done, I just want to believe that the people who keep saying he's a changed person, that it was his darkest moment, I just want to believe that they would forgive and say, okay, it is his darkest moment. Everybody already have darkest moment. I just want to believe that. But let me know what you think about this. I'm sure tons of people have interesting things to share. I really love you to share that. You can share the useful information you think might be really helpful. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe and all of that stuff. And until next time, see you in the next video.